to vote for Representative Turner for Speaker, and I echo and affirm all those. But what I want to do to you is talk to you about some of the reasons I've heard that he may not be qualified to serve as Speaker, and hopefully refute those. You know, I hear all the time, well, he's only served 2 years. He's only served 2 years in the House. How can he be a good Speaker? Well, from time immemorial, it's not been longevity, but it's been leadership that has allowed people to excel in those kinds of positions. Yes. And the history is replete with those examples, but let's just look at one in the 19th century. There was a man who spent 2 years in the House of Representatives before being promoted to a higher office. And I think we can all agree that Abraham Lincoln did a pretty good job at that next post. That's right, Abraham Lincoln's entire federal resume is that he'd served 2 years in Congress before being president. So it wasn't the longevity that counted, it was the leadership that he exuded. Now, I'm not going to compare Scott and Abraham Lincoln because, after all, Honest Abe never ran a 4.240. So it'd be kind of unfair to him to do that. But they did have a lot in common. First of all, Abraham Lincoln was a person who could communicate and articulate a vision for the people. And if you've ever met Scott Turner or heard him speak, you know one of his greatest gifts is that he can articulately communicate a vision that inspires people. Not only that, but Abraham Lincoln was sagacious. That's the ability to discern, cut through all the noise, all the rhetoric, all the clutter, and discern what's right and wrong. If you ever talk to Scott, you know he's got that moral compass. He knows what's right, what's wrong, and what's going on. And finally, Abraham Lincoln, the team of rivals, he was magnanimous. He was able to put aside petty things, rise above that to work for a common good. And Scott, he's been a team leader in his house, on the football field, in the workplace, and even here in the Texas House. So Abraham Lincoln and Scott Turner both, they have the ability to communicate and articulate a vision. They're sagacious and they're magnanimous, and that will give him the opportunity to be a fantastic Speaker of the House. And then the other thing you hear is, oh, well, he doesn't have the policy depth or experience that you want in a Speaker. First of all, that shows me that you haven't talked to Scott Turner, because I've had really in-depth conversations with him the last year over education, budget, immigration and border security, transportation, you name it. He has thoroughly delved into the issues and he knows it. But apart from that, there's not one member in this House who knows every policy issue, right? I mean, there's 150 of us for a reason. We don't know every in and out of every policy. The benefit of the Speaker's office is they have a team of policy analysts and experts who help them guide through that maze. And so Speaker Turner will have the exact same access to those resources. There's no lack of policy depth in the man himself, but the office brings with that a lot of it as well. So hopefully you've heard these talking points before, why he's not qualified, but really they're full of sounding inferior yet signifying nothing. He is qualified to be Speaker, and he would do a fantastic job. And we have to remember, it's not just Texas. We always hear the eyes of Texas are upon us for this session, but the eyes of America are upon Texas. And so what we do the next 140 days will be a bitch part, will be leadership for what the rest of the country does. So you can almost hear him exhorting us. You can almost hear him cheering us on. You know, the poetic words of Longfellow when he said, "Sail on, O ship of state. Sail on, O Union strong and great. Humanity with all its fears, with all its hopes for future years, hangs breathless upon thy fate." You may think that's a little hyperbolic, but it's not that far. So our decision today, taking off on the ship analogy, is who's going to captain this venerated vessel of the Texas House through the stormy and choppy waters of the session that we're approaching, so that we can reach the serene shores of a successful session and signing die. That man is Scott Turner. The time is now, and at the end of this 140 days, the Lone Star can shine bigger, brighter, and better than it ever has. I'm honored to second the nomination of Scott Turner today. I ask that you will support me in voting for Scott Turner. You won't regret it, I guarantee it. God bless you guys. God bless Texas. Let's get to it.